80% of Americans agree on a recession or economic contraction in 2023. Is this a good thing? Well, that's exactly what we're going to talk about right here in the video, so let's get right into it. Alright, a new survey was just released showing 80% of Americans who responded agree the United States is going to be falling into a recession or a deep economic contraction in 2023. But I do want to talk through all the details of this report as well as some other reports that have recently been released as well that we all need to take into consideration because is this a good thing or not really? Again, it's everybody's perspective and your own opinions, but it may not be the worst thing in the world because we know that we're still living through a very high inflationary time right now, and a recession is like what I've said before in other videos, a major reset to the economy, and it would ultimately bring down some of this inflation, at least temporarily, until the Federal Reserve starts printing up a bunch of money yet again and ultimately incorporating more inflation. But I do want to talk you through all the details of this survey where 80% of Americans are agreeing that a recession is on their horizon or a deep economic contraction, and then again some of these other reports that have also been released. So by the way, obviously 80% of the population is a huge percentage of the population who does agree that the economy is going to be contracting this year in 2023. Now remember, in 2022, last year, obviously we had very high inflation. In fact, the vast majority of the year, we had inflation well over 8%, topping out in the summer at 9.1%. Very high. In fact, just recently we got some information out of Michael Burry as well, who suggested that inflation has not yet peaked yet. Maybe temporarily it has, but yet in this cycle, the inflation that we're currently dealing with has not even peaked out yet, right? So that is going to suggest that we might actually see inflation yet again above 9.1%. Well, let's just hope that that's not true, because we know that this inflation is eating people up right now, and we know that it is not a good situation as things are getting very expensive. In fact, here's a little interesting side note as well. I had no intention of talking about this, but I'm going to throw it out there really quickly. As I was doing research, I just saw some more information coming out. Even Cardi B, the rapper, has said that grocery prices have gone up 3 times. Yeah, totally. I mean, seriously, Cardi B is right on with this, right? So even Cardi B understands that inflation is through the roof right now, and the inflation numbers and all the information that we're seeing from these reports is probably not being accurately presented to us, right? But again, huge shock there that the that the reports that we're seeing are not fully being displayed. Again, are we surprised by any metric? Not really, right? We're not all that surprised that maybe the information they're telling us probably isn't completely accurate. So anyway, just another report that is out there right now as well, right? So we also do know this much. We just got some more information out of the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, which is showing that there were still 10.5 million job openings as of last month. Is that a good or bad thing? Well, that's not necessarily a good thing when it comes down to this economy and this inflation. In fact, we've heard out of the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, over the last several months here as he has had these press conferences and after the Federal Reserve initial meetings with their FOMC meetings, things like this, we've heard the chairman of the Federal Reserve suggest that they want to see job openings come down and they want to see hiring slow down as well, because this is what they anticipate is causing a lot of this inflation. So they want to see a tighter job market rather than all of these job openings and, people quitting jobs left and right, millions upon millions of people quitting jobs. In fact, over 4 million people quitting jobs on a monthly basis. That's craziness right there, right? Well, as a result of that, employees believe that they can quit their job because there's better opportunities somewhere else with higher pay. Well, guess what? All of that causes even more inflation because it's more money going out to more people, therefore more purchasing power, and again, driving up prices on limited goods and services that all of us are trying to buy, right? So we continue to see with all these reports as well that even grocery prices, for example, are up about 13% year over year. That's craziness, right? Not only that, for example, eggs are hitting record prices for eggs right now because there's a bird flu that is circling around the entire United States right now. In fact, I saw a report that is showing that about 56 million chickens and flocks or birds have been affected by this bird flu. So again, that's a huge percentage, right? Like 56 million of these birds have been affected. So not a good thing, and that's just coming down to egg prices. But remember, what are eggs in? Are eggs in all kinds of different products that we buy? Yeah. So remember, all this is going to translate. Not only that, we started out 2023 with, yet again, higher gas prices. Now remember, what did we deal with in 2022 when gas prices were very, very high? Well, we also saw inflation on a lot of different things. Why? Well, because we do know that gas prices directly translate into the cost of products on our store shelves because all these items need to get to the store somehow. Now, obviously, we also understand at the same time that these products are brought to the stores on semis. Semis run on diesel, not necessarily gas, but it's all essentially, kind of revolving around the same thing. If gas prices go up, that means diesel prices also go up. And we also know that diesel prices are very, very high right now. So as a result of that, if diesel prices continue to move up or if they stay steady, that just simply means that prices will stay very elevated at the stores because all of those products that we buy there are brought there by semis. Therefore, diesel operated, they need to pass those expenses on to somebody. They pass it on to the retailer, they pass it on to the grocer, and they pass it on to the end consumer, which is us. It always comes down to us. Who is the one who always pays the higher prices, and who is the one who always, gets all these expenses passed on to them? It's us, the consumer. We are always the end user. Therefore, we are the ones who have to brunt all of these expenses because retailers, they're not going to shrink their margins because of these expenses. They're just going to pass it on through higher prices. And that's what they can continue to do. Well, with all of these moving parts that I'm talking about here in this video, I know a lot of different things here, but it all translates into higher prices, and it simply means that our purchasing power, and in other words, our dollars are getting us less and less, meaning we're likely going to be seeing some economic contraction simply because we're getting less and less, right? Well, as a result of getting less and high inflation, we're probably starting to cut back on some of our spending simply because are we going out, maybe, spending money on entertainment, spending money on discretionary spending? Probably not. We're probably spending that money that we maybe have on the essentials, on the things that we need, the necessities, right? So the things that are very important to us, the things that we need is where the money is going rather than maybe some discretionary. Well, as a result of that, we know that, less money is going out and buying goods and services, things like that. So we also do know that so far in 2023, we've seen tons and tons of large corporations coming out announcing massive layoffs. In fact, Amazon was just announcing 18,000 job cuts. Now that's just Amazon alone. How about all these other big ones out there laying off thousands, tens of thousands of people? And again, it just goes on and on and on. And we're starting to see the unemployment rate ticking higher as well. So it just simply shows that some of these job cuts, that some of the hiring freezes, things like that are starting to be shown in the job numbers, in the initial jobless claims, more people filing for unemployment benefits. And again, it all comes full circle, right? We all know that this is a slow moving thing, but once it starts happening, it starts moving kind of fast here, right? So when it comes down to it, 80% of the population is not all that optimistic in the United States economy. And when it comes down to a recession in the United States here in 2023. Now again, is this a good thing? Well, I'm not here to tell you if it's a good thing or not. It's kind of everybody's opinion on this whole thing. But when it comes down to a reset on this inflation, when it comes down to a reset on everything else, a recession or an economic contraction may not be the worst thing. It might bring these prices down a little bit, and it might bring these in a little bit to make it more reasonable for the vast majority of Americans. Now, again, remember this much as well. If you are somebody who is hoping for or wanting more money in the form of a stimulus check or something like that, again, an economic contraction or a recession, well, remember, all the recessions over the last, 22 or so years, all of the recessions have brought stimulus checks. The recession of 2000, the year of 2000 and 2001, the dot-com bubble, brought stimulus checks. The great financial crash of 2007, 2008, early 2009, again, brought stimulus checks. The COVID crash of early 2020, again, brought stimulus checks. Why would this time be any different? It's not going to be any different. It's going to be the same old thing. So I've talked about this in greater detail in other videos, but I want to shake all that out for you because this is what the vast majority of Americans are thinking. Now, again, remember this much as well. Anytime that a lot of people feel the same way, generally the opposite is true, right? So sometimes kind of going with the herd is not always, the best approach when it comes down to some of these strategies. And again, I'm not saying that's the situation here, but it shows that the American people are not all that optimistic about the United States this year in 2023. Well, as I've said so many times in other videos, only time will tell, and of course, I'll continue watching all this very closely. As I do get more details, of course, I'll be right here for you, breaking it all down. So please subscribe down below if you haven't done so yet. Share this video with your friends, family, social media, and go back and check out any of the other thousands upon thousands of videos here on the channel. And also leave your comments, questions, and feedback down below. If there's anything I can do to help you out to better understand this, of course, I'm here for you. I do my best to respond to as many comments and read as many of those comments down below as possible, or make dedicated videos where I see fit. But these are some of the reports that I saw coming out here, and I wanted to bring these to your attention so you can see what is really going on and what the consensus is here in the United States when it comes down to the economy, a potential recession, and what we have on the horizon right here in 2023. Anyway, enjoy and have a nice day. I'll catch you again later in the next one. I hope this one helps you out to better understand what's going on here. And please remember, I'm here for you in any way that I can be. Subscribe down below and enjoy your day. I'll catch you again later in the